For nearly 13,000 years, a ruling framework known as the Stellar Accord defined survival across known space. Its authority spanned 3 immense stellar regions and bound hundreds of intelligent civilizations beneath a single, uncompromising worldview. Though cultures, physiologies, and histories varied wildly, every member society accepted the same premise. Existence was competitive, resources were finite, and continuation had to be earned. Strength justified survival. Weakness threatened it. Within the Accord, this belief was not considered cruel or malicious. It was considered efficient, rational, and necessary. The Accord taught that advancement demanded sacrifice. Compassion, when extended too broadly, diluted progress. Societies that preserved inefficiency endangered themselves and others. Over millennia, this logic hardened into doctrine and then into law. Worlds that complied received protection, access to shared technology, and a place within a stable galactic order. Worlds that resisted were corrected, isolated, or quietly erased. Stability was preserved, and few questioned the cost. When humanity first entered the Accord's awareness, it attracted little interest. Earth was difficult but not exceptional. Its gravity was punishing, its climate unstable, and its ecosystems dangerous, yet many member species had emerged from environments far harsher. Human engineering was competent but unremarkable. They had reached their moon and established limited off-world settlements, but faster-than-light travel remained beyond their reach. Humanity appeared ordinary, manageable, and compliant. After a brief review, the Accord offered provisional inclusion. Humanity would receive restricted access to interstellar knowledge in exchange for obedience to Accord statutes. This arrangement was routine, and almost every civilization accepted without hesitation. Humanity did as well. Earth's formal petition was delivered by Ambassador Lin Xiao, a silver-haired woman in her 60s who entered the Grand Assembly chamber seated in a floating mobility platform. A childhood illness had left her unable to walk. Some delegates observed her with curiosity, others with thinly concealed discomfort. Few believed her presence carried significance. 4 months, evaluations proceeded as expected. Economic data was reviewed. Cultural adaptability assessed. Political structures approved. Then the biological audit began. That phase fell under the Central Vitality Council, the Accord's highest authority on biological compliance. Its mandate was absolute. Frailty consumed resources. Imperfection weakened civilizations. Every advanced species had accepted this standard as the price of longevity. Humanity, the Council assumed, would prove no exception. When Earth's population records were processed, the chamber erupted in alarm. By Accord classification, nearly 15% of humanity was biologically non-optimal. The disabled, the chronically ill, the elderly, the neurodivergent. On compliant worlds, such individuals would have been eliminated long before becoming demographic burdens. Yet humanity was sustaining them, educating them, employing them, and treating them as full members of society. By galactic standards, the numbers were indefensible. The Council demanded explanation. The data had to be flawed. Surely humanity practiced some form of correction not reflected in the reports. Ambassador Xiao responded simply. There was no mistake. Humanity did not remove its vulnerable. It did not equate worth with physical efficiency. A person's value, she explained, was not measured by strength alone. The response was swift. An emergency session was convened. Overseer Threxel, an immense arthropoid who had supervised the assimilation of dozens of civilizations, issued the judgment. Humanity exhibited a dangerous cognitive deviation. By assigning equal value to defective biology, it threatened the structural integrity of galactic civilization. If such thinking spread, the foundations of the Accord would erode. After hours of debate, a resolution was passed. Directive 8124 granted humanity 1 solar year to comply. All non-optimal individuals were to be humanely terminated. Future deviations would be prevented through mandatory genetic screening. Enforcement facilities would be constructed under Accord supervision. Failure would result in sanctions, isolation, and armed correction. Ambassador Xiao read the directive in silence. Then she requested clarification. Under the mandate, Threxel explained, approximately 1.2 billion humans would be scheduled for optimization. Xiao herself would be included. Her early participation, he added, would demonstrate cooperation. And if we refuse? She asked. No civilization had ever defied the Accord without consequence. None had survived unchanged. The directive reached Earth midweek. Within days, the reality of the demand became clear. The galaxy expected panic, surrender, and division. Instead, humanity unified. Parents stood before councils beside children marked for death. Veterans spoke from wheelchairs. Scientists, artists, engineers, and elders raised their voices together. This was not politics or economics. It was a declaration of identity. When the global vote concluded, the result was decisive. 93% of humanity rejected the mandate. No delays. No exceptions. No compromise. Ambassador Shao returned to the Grand Assembly accompanied by 48 humans, each condemned under Directive 8124. They stood openly before the galaxy. A painter without arms, a physicist trembling with Parkinson's, a deaf-blind poet, a double amputee soldier, a mathematician with profound autism, an aging surgeon losing her memory. Lives the Accord deemed unacceptable. Shao spoke calmly. Humanity would not destroy its disabled. It would not erase its sick or abandon its elders. Not one. Not now. Not ever. Then she delivered the final declaration. Humanity withdrew from the Stellar Accord, effective immediately. Shock rippled through the chamber. No civilization had ever chosen exile. Administrators warned that Earth would not survive alone. Shao acknowledged the risk. Perhaps not, she replied. But humanity would perish as itself. She recited the names of individuals erased by Accord doctrine across history, brilliant minds and lost futures. The choice, she concluded, had not been difficult. The consequences were immediate. Accord technology vanished overnight. Medical networks collapsed. Energy systems failed. The first year was brutal and many died. The Accord waited for Earth to beg. Earth did not. Instead, humanity rebuilt alongside those the galaxy had tried to erase. A deaf engineer led the team that cracked faster than light travel. A blind programmer revolutionized navigation logic. A physicist with autism perceived dimensions others could not. 3 years after exile, humanity crossed the light barrier independently. Then came the refugees. Whispers spread of a world that protected its imperfect. Ships arrived carrying families fleeing extermination. Earth welcomed them. Human and alien children grew up together. Difference became ordinary. Compassion became policy. 5 years after exile, the Accord watched in growing unease as humanity flourished beyond its reach. The reckoning arrived without warning. The Void-born emerged from beyond charted space, erasing entire systems in silence. The Accord's perfected fleets engaged them and were annihilated within hours. Soldiers engineered for efficiency could not adapt. Every maneuver was predicted. Every strategy countered. Within 2 years, the Accord stood on the brink of extinction. With no alternatives remaining, they did the unthinkable. They asked Earth for help. 20 years after exile, an envoy stood before Ambassador Mara Shao, granddaughter of Lin Shao, deaf, wheelchair-bound, and a woman the Accord would have erased at birth. She listened as the envoy spoke. The Accord had been wrong. Billions of civilians would die if Earth refused. Mara brought the decision to her people. The debate reopened old wounds. Anger clashed with mercy. In the end, humanity chose consistency. It would not decide who deserved to live. The Unity fleet launched days later, commanded by those once deemed flawed. Ships designed by minds shaped by difference. Crews guided by creativity, intuition, and lived experience. Against them, the Void-born faltered. Unpredictable strategies shattered their models. Slowly, the enemy was driven beyond the galactic edge. When the war ended, the galaxy faced a choice. Humanity offered a new foundation. Not perfection, not optimization, but cooperation built on variation. Many accepted. Healing began. Children once hidden emerged into the light. Families reunited. Worlds rebuilt. Years later, in a quiet museum on Earth, 2 artifacts rested beneath a single plaque, a mobility chair and a pair of translation gauntlets. The inscription read, "We chose to leave. Then we chose to return. Both times we chose life." Across the stars, the lesson endured. Humanity did not survive despite compassion. It survived because of it.